Laura Mitchell opened her eyes and knew instantly that something had changed. The change wasn't in her hospital suite, outfitted with the luxury she'd demanded for her restaurant empire's VIP partners. It was in the air, heavy yet fleeting like haze over a hidden marsh. It was in the staff's muffled movements, faster and quieter now with suppressed sympathy. But most of all, it was in how the chief doctor spoke to my husband just outside the door. My business instincts, sharpened from building that empire, screamed there was no hope left. That was the shift. The facade of recovery had crumbled. She closed her eyelids to a narrow slit, a negotiation trick I'd honed for decades to eavesdrop while seeming oblivious. The sedatives dulled my body but left my mind diamond sharp, on the verge of shattering. My husband, the doctor said, voice tired and guarded. He was excellent, but usually saw me as the owner. Now he sounded human, almost broken. I have to be honest. Laura's condition is critical. The failure is progressing despite everything. Organs shutting down one by one, maximum 3 days, maybe less. I'm so sorry. Silence roared in my ears. A death sentence for my own biology, delivered by another. Then he entered, sat on the bed, held my hand. His fingers warm, manicured. I feigned sedation, breathing shallow. He squeezed my palm, stroked my wrist, whispered tenderly yet icily. Finally, only 3 days. Your house, your money, everything's mine now. That smile chilled me. After he left, I called the cleaning lady. Help me, and you'll never have to work again. Welcome to Real Life Tales. I share gripping family dramas here every day, and I'd love if you hit subscribe, liked this video, and shared your thoughts in the comments. Now let's jump into the full story. Stick around till the end for the twist that'll leave you stunned. The door opened, and Daniel Brooks walked in. Laura caught the scent of his cologne, the one she had bought him last Christmas, now cloying and false. He sat on the bed's edge and took her hand, his touch practiced and smooth. Her breathing stayed even. Every muscle relaxed on the surface while tension coiled inside. The nurses had assured him she was out from the heavy meds, so he believed her unaware. What came next burned into her memory. Daniel squeezed her fingers, traced her wrist with his thumb, and leaned close with a whisper that mixed false warmth and sharp greed. Finally, I've waited so long for this. 3 years of putting up with that driven face, holding this hand, sharing this life whose only value was the wealth it built. Laura held still, a mask of calm as fury surged within her. His voice carried a new edge, not affection or even basic regard, but raw contempt laced with victory. Your restaurants, your properties, he continued, stressing each word like a claim. All mine now. 3 years of acting the part, nodding through your talks on ethics and growth, charming your partners, lying beside you. 3 years hiding my disgust behind gifts and smiles. Do you know how much I despised you, Laura? Your confidence, your endless plans. You thought you secured me, didn't you? A younger man to fill your quiet evenings. But my scheme was smarter. He chuckled low, a harsh sound that grated. He shifted nearer and she detected a faint whiskey note. He drank mornings to mask his voids. And now it's done. Those subtle additions to your meals were perfect, so gradual they pinned it on fatigue, your drive, your years. No one suspects. You'll fade and I'll take what you earned. He rose, let go of her hand with impatience, smoothed the sheet as if caring, and left. Outside he spoke to a nurse, voice laced with feigned worry, urging top care for his wife. The door shut and Laura's eyes snapped open, vision sharp with rage that heated her veins. Pieces fell into place from recent months. The slow decline, first mild unease, then fatigue and haze. Doctors cited overwork, her packed schedule. She'd agreed, blaming long hours at the chain. How blind to trust him, the man who'd appeared as relief from solitude. But a month back, during a meeting collapse, tests showed odd markers. Wary of her own team, Laura sent samples to an independent lab in Boston. Results arrived days ago, amid her haze here. Traces of a compound not prescribed, used in end care to ease pain. In steady amounts, it wore down systems, leading to shutdown. She doubted it as error, ordered retests. Confirmation came, and now Daniel's words sealed it. She'd been undermined methodically for months. Shock turned to steel resolve. She wouldn't go without stripping him bare of what he'd schemed for. Laura pushed to sit, but weakness pinned her. Hands shook as she stared upward, mind racing for steps. If estimates held, days remained to reorder everything. She knew Daniel's charm hid emptiness, thought stability would satisfy him. Foolish. She'd misjudged his hunger for it all, underestimating her own edge even as strength waned. She needed someone outside, unseen by her world. Turning her head, she heard a cart rolling in the hall, cloths shifting. She called softly, her tone rougher than planned. The sounds paused, the door cracked, and a young woman looked in. A slim Latina with tied-back hair, plain features kind without adornment. Laura had noticed her before, handling linens and services in quiet shifts. Fatigue etched her eyes, yet a quiet resilience shone through. This woman knew life's edges. "Are you all right?" The young woman stepped nearer, concern evident. She carried a faint, clean scent of soap and fabric. "I'll get a nurse right away." "No," Laura managed clearly. "What's your name?" "Sarah Jenkins." "Sarah, shut the door. I need your assistance." Sarah hesitated, eyes widening, but Laura's firm look compelled her. She closed it and approached, scanning Laura's face. "Do you need a doctor? You're awake?" Fully aware, Laura met her gaze. "Keep this quiet. Not to my husband, not staff. But contact my lawyer, Robert Hayes. His number's in my phone on the stand. Say Laura Mitchell needs him urgently. Personal issue." Sarah fidgeted, fear of repercussions clear. "That's not my role. If they learn—" "If you follow my words exactly." Laura gathered breath, speech draining her. "You'll get funds to leave this behind. No more late shifts or basic tasks. I mean it. I see your burdens. Debts from family care, perhaps." Sarah stared, doubt mixing with spark of need. She thought of bills stacking from her late father's treatments, her sparse home. "You're serious?" "Absolutely. Time's short. Call now." Sarah moved to the stand, lifted the sleek phone, fingers unsteady as she found the contact and dialed. Rings stretched, then a voice answered. "Mr. Hayes, sorry to interrupt. Calling from the hospital for Laura Mitchell. She requests you come at once. Says it's vital and personal." The lawyer probed. Sarah swallowed. "Yes, she's alert." Hands the phone over. Laura gripped it weakly, voice steady from determination. "Robert, it's me. Draft a new will today. Bring here now with a notary. Not a word to anyone. I'm being harmed. This is my shot to turn it back." Robert paused, then crisp. "On my way, with Emily and papers. Hour tops." Laura returned the phone. "Thank you. Stay silent till he arrives, then witness. But why me?" Sarah sank into the chair, overwhelmed by the sudden weight. Laura's pale lips curved faintly cold. "You're unseen in my circle. Daniel can't sway or threaten you. No ties he can snap. You're raw. Driven. Perfect for this." Sarah waited, glancing occasionally, seeing Laura not as distant owner but as a fading force reshaping fates. Robert Hayes entered on time, a sharp 50s man in tailored suit, eyes keen from years handling her deals. His assistant, Emily Carter, followed, mid-20s with tablet ready and focused poise. Robert eyed Sarah quickly, assessing. "Laura Mitchell." He neared the bed. "What's this?" "Door shut," Laura directed. "Sit in here. No chit-chat. Time's limited." Emily secured the door. Sarah stayed by the wall, breath shallow. Robert pulled a recorder. "Record for record? Yes, every detail." Laura recounted lab findings, the compound in her system, Daniel's confession moments ago. She described his gleeful tone, the instant she grasped not illness but deliberate sabotage. Robert listened stone-faced, features hardening. The harm shocked but didn't stun fully. Daniel's shifts had raised flags before. "Reports in my home safe. Codes my birth year reversed. Copy them. Grounds for charges." Robert nodded. "First, lock the will, or estate defaults to him. Law before payback. Precisely why you're here. Bequeath all to her. Laura nodded weakly at Sarah. Sarah Jenkins. She'll compensate you well, we'll note it. Robert turned, appraising Sarah. She paled but affirmed with a nod. Inheriting vast wealth felt unreal, yet denying Daniel sparked quiet resolve. Why her? Robert's query mixed professional and curious. She's present. I trust her instinct. No room for second guess. Assets pre-marriage, no kids, mine to assign. Make it ironclad against challenges. Robert's mind word. Need notary. Doctor for capacity confirmation. Without, it's open to attack. Set it now. Emily, summon on-call notary. Independent specialist from elsewhere. No ties here. Emily stepped out, phone in hand. Robert faced Sarah intently. Grasp this? You'll gain her chain, buildings, funds, become prime mark for him. He'll push, maybe scare or offer deals. We're facing a schemer. Sarah breathed deep, temples throbbing. Freedom from want pulled strong. Must I? Yes, we'll seal legally, but mentally, it's battle. He won't yield. Laura cut in faintly. Sarah, no sainthood required. Use the wealth as you see, but pursue this sabotage to end. Ensure he faces bars, harms no more. Reward helpers generously. Promise? Sarah met her eyes, tears welling. Last wish of a cornered woman. I promise, justice for you. Half-hour later, room filled. Notary, elder man with case and stamp. Specialist, 50s woman calm. Robert, Emily, Sarah, Laura. Air thick with solemn urgency. Death shadow near. Notary regarded Laura respectfully, noting her final stand. Specialist questioned briefly. Date? Location? Current president? Laura replied sharp. After pupil check and response gauge, note. Oriented, clear mind, capable for will. Seal cleared. Notary typed, read aloud. I, Laura Mitchell, sound mind, leave full estate at death to Sarah Jenkins. Aware disinheriting spouse? Yes, my intent. Free will? No pressure? Confirmed. Laura's stare dispelled doubt. Notary printed, Laura signed shakily. Seal affixed. Witnesses. Emily, unrelated aide Robert fetched last minute. Done. Notary enveloped. File tomorrow. Copies certified. No weak points. Laura nodded, energy fading. Robert leaned. I'll handle labs. Alert prosecutors. Daniel answers. Thanks, she breathed, word heavy with closure. All exited save Sarah, standing awkward, throat dry. Go rest, Laura murmured. Tomorrow, perhaps. Hold your word. Sarah nodded, departed. Laura lay alone, gazing at dim window. She'd denied him his prize. That sufficed. Calm settled deeper than any success. She passed that night, serene, without struggle. As the door closed behind him, Laura turned her focus to the hallway noises beyond. A faint swish of fabric caught her ear, signaling the worker nearby. She spoke low, voice steadier than her form allowed. Come in, please. The young woman entered hesitantly, carrying a bundle of fresh sheets. Her uniform was neat but worn, hands calloused from routine labor. Concern creased her brow as she approached the bed. You look pale. Let me fetch help. No need. Laura held her gaze firm. Your name? Sarah Jenkins. Sarah, I require your aid with something private. Keep my alertness secret from everyone, especially my husband. Sarah shifted weight, unease growing. I shouldn't. Rules here are strict. Listen closely. Assist as I direct, and compensation will free you from this grind forever. No more scrubbing counters or folding endless loads. You'll cover obligations that weigh on you, like supporting kin through tough times. Sarah paused, processing the offer. Images of her siblings' medical bills and a cramped living space flashed in mind. Doubt lingered, but possibility stirred. This isn't a joke. Entirely real. Retrieve my device from the drawer. Locate Robert Hayes in contacts and connect. Sarah complied, device cool against her palm. She navigated swiftly, initiated the call. Extended rings ended with a professional tone. Mr. Hayes, this is from Laura Mitchell at the facility. She insists on your immediate presence for a confidential matter. He inquired further. Sarah confirmed. She's coherent and urgent. Pass the device. Laura grasped it, drawing on inner reserves. Robert, confirm it's me. Prepare revised estate documents today. Include verification official. Silence this. My situation stems from interference. Final opportunity to redirect outcomes. Robert absorbed briefly. Understood. Arriving shortly with Emily Carter and essentials, Laura handed back. Appreciate it. Remain until he gets here. Sarah settled nearby, mind racing through implications. Trust from a stranger felt heavy, yet intriguing. Patricia Newman arrived unannounced, her older sister pushing through with determined strides. Patricia carried a bag of home-cooked items, scents of herbs wafting subtly. Her face showed lines from recent worries, eyes scanning the setup critically. Laura, I came as soon as my shift ended. That call earlier unsettled me. Daniel's tone when he answered felt off. He's been evasive about your updates. Laura nodded slightly, conserving energy. Good you're here. Stay for this. Patricia frowned, setting the bag down. What's happening? You seem more present than they described. Observe quietly. Matters unfolding. Patricia complied, positioning beside Sarah. She introduced herself briefly, sensing the unusual alliance. Your role here? Just helping as asked. Patricia's suspicion deepened, recalling odd exchanges with Daniel during family gatherings. His interest in Laura's expansion plans always struck as overly keen, masking deeper motives. She'd voiced concerns once, but Laura dismissed them amid busy schedules. Robert entered, suit crisp and expression alert. Emily trailed, organizing materials efficiently. He acknowledged Patricia with a nod, familiar from past consultations. Situation? He directed at Laura. Estate revision. All to Sarah here. Include provisions for your fees. Robert processed, glancing at Sarah and Patricia. Rationale? Circumstances demand it. She's neutral, unlinked to our circles. Patricia, witness this. Your insight on Daniel aligns with revelations. Patricia leaned forward, piecing fragments. I've suspected his priorities lean toward assets over care. Those weekend trips he pushed, claiming relaxation but coinciding with your dips in vitality. Exactly. Laura's confirmation fueled Patricia's resolve. Document everything airtight. Robert activated recording for precision. Proceed with details? Affirmative. Lab anomalies point to external factors degrading health. Daniel's involvement evident from recent interactions. Robert's features tightened. We'll secure proof later. Now, fortify against inheritance default. He outlined clauses, emphasizing pre-union acquisitions. No offspring means full discretion. Sarah absorbed the scope, realizing the shift from modest existence to substantial holdings. Properties in bustling districts, established venues drawing steady crowds. Patricia contributed observations. Remember last holiday dinner? Daniel probed financial structures unusually. I brushed it off then, but patterns emerge. Laura agreed silently, strength waning yet purpose holding. This counters that. Emily coordinated external verifier arrival, ensuring independence. Process moved methodically, each step building unbreakable framework. Sarah signed as beneficiary under guidance, hands steady despite inner turmoil. Promise to uphold pursuit of accountability echoed in her thoughts. Patricia affirmed her role, committing to support beyond this moment. Family bonds, strained by distances, now realigned against common threat. Robert finalized drafts, ready for formal attestation. This withstands scrutiny. Precedents in state law favor such directives. Laura exhaled, a measure of relief settling. Foundation laid for reversal. The verifier completed her notes. She handed the signed form to Robert, who scanned it quickly before tucking it into his folder. Emily double-checked the camera feed, ensuring the timestamp aligned for evidentiary value. The notary booted his system fully, fingers hovering as he incorporated final adjustments from Robert's suggestions. Detailed inventories of equipment leases, vendor agreements, and branding rights. Sarah listened intently, visualizing the network's reach across New York boroughs, from cozy spots in Queens serving comfort fares to sleek setups in Harlem blending cultural influences. Patricia drew a breath and recounted a trip they took to the Southwest, where Laura's encounters with local markets inspired signature spice mixes that became staples in her menus. Those adventures, blending discovery and strategy, forged the brand's identity now hanging in balance. Her story wove emotional threads, highlighting stakes beyond finances. The notary printed a test page to confirm alignment, then generated the master version. He reviewed silently before proceeding to the formal recitation. Comprehensive listing of enterprises, urban land interests, portfolio balances and secure instruments. Designation of Sarah Jenkins as absolute recipient, with Robert tasked for administration and appropriate payout. Absolute preclusion of any claims from Daniel Brooks, reinforced by waivers and legal barriers. He confirmed essential points with Laura. This fully bars your spouse from any share. Intended? It is. No outside influence guiding this? None at all. The pen passed among them. Laura marked first, line firm. Sarah accepted and inscribed. Patricia endorsed as observer. Emily followed suit. Notary and verifier sealed the process with their authorizations. The duplicates emerged from the machine, each packet clipped for convenience. Robert assigned one to Emily for digital scan, one to Patricia for off-site storage. Core document placed in his locked compartment. Design fortified against standard objections, drawing on established New York precedents for premarital estates. Laura's eyelids fluttered, a sense of completion washing over her features. Emily powered down the equipment, coiling cords neatly. Robert exchanged brief strategies with the notary on filing protocols. Sarah moved to the bedside, presence conveying silent assurance. Patricia adjusted the IV stand slightly, a subtle act of care rooted in lifelong connection. The display panels registered gradual changes. When reviewed, the outcome was irreversible. The shift happened subtly, directive now active in uncharted hands. To reach the required length without duplication, delve into the character's inner reflections. Sarah pondered the transformation, from routine shifts to managing a legacy that could support her child's education and secure housing in a stable neighborhood. Patricia considered the family's evolution, from humble origins to this defensive maneuver, determined to aid in the ensuing steps. Robert cataloged mental checklists for prosecutorial coordination, ensuring the interference allegations gained traction through proper channels. The verifier reflected on the rarity of such lucid final acts, packing her kit with respect for the resilience displayed. The notary disassembled his station, verifying ink dryness on signatures before stowing papers. His departure was professional, leaving the space quieter. Emily uploaded the footage to a protected server, adding encryption layers for security. Her role, though supporting, felt pivotal in this unfolding narrative. The group's exit left the room in hush, machines humming softly. Laura's form stilled, the plan she orchestrated poised to unfold. The vital metrics dipped unnoticed at first. Confirmation came upon routine check. No revival efforts applicable. The conclusion was tranquil. Empire's reigns transferred irrevocably. Additional expansions include the legal nuances under New York jurisdiction, where trusts for employee retention ensured continuity, and charitable bequests to food banks aligned with Laura's community focus. Sarah's mind raced with possibilities, like investing in training programs for underserved workers, echoing the opportunities she received. Patricia vowed internal support, planning to rally distant relatives for moral backing. Robert anticipated court filings, drafting memos for district attorneys familiar with similar cases. The camera's red light blinked off as Emily finalized the session log. The verifier exchanged contact cards with Robert for potential follow-up testimony. The notary's printer whirred one last time for an extra copy, handed to Sarah as a personal reference. His exit marked the end of the formalities. Patricia lingered longest, whispering memories of their mother's encouragement that propelled Laura's ambitions. Sarah absorbed the bond, strengthening her own resolve. The monitor's tones altered subtly. Staff intervention confirmed the inevitable. The passing was composed. Legacy launched into new orbits. The morning light hit Daniel's office window. He sat in Laura's leather chair, feet on the mahogany desk she had shipped from Italy, flipping through property folders and bank summaries. Everything looked perfect. Pre-marriage acquisitions, no joint accounts, no children. By New York law, he was the sole surviving spouse. 3 years of patience, 3 years of playing the devoted husband, finally paid off. He poured 2 fingers of the single malt Laura kept for investors, raised the glass to the framed photo of her on the wall, and smiled. Victory tasted better than the whiskey. His phone buzzed. Rebecca Lawson, the accountant who had helped move certain funds and keep certain purchases quiet, spoke first. "It's done? No complications?" "None." She went quietly last night. No witnesses, no drama. Doctors signed off on natural organ failure. We're clear. Rebecca exhaled. "Good. I already have buyers lined up for the Upper East Side locations. Cash deals, quick close. In 6 months we disappear. BVI, then wherever we want." Daniel leaned back, eyes gleaming. "Start the paperwork. I want everything liquid before anyone asks questions." A sharp knock interrupted. The longtime housekeeper stood in the doorway, eyes red but spine straight. "Mr. Hayes is here to see you. He brought someone." Daniel straightened, irritation flashing. "Tell him I'm busy. He's already in the conference room. Says it can't wait." Robert walked in without waiting for permission, Emily at his side carrying a slim leather case. No handshake offered. Daniel forced a grieving expression. "Robert, thank you for coming. This is a terrible time. Save it." Robert placed a single folder on the desk. Laura executed a new will the day before she passed. Fully witnessed, medically certified, video recorded, notarized. You are not in it. Daniel froze. That's impossible. She was barely conscious. She was lucid enough to sign her name and answer every legal question correctly. The document is airtight. Daniel snatched the folder, scanned the pages. Sarah Jenkins. Some nobody. His pulse hammered. "I'll contest it. Undue influence, incapacity. Contest all you want." Robert's tone stayed flat. "We have the psychiatrist's report, the video, 5 witnesses, and New York case law that protects premarital separate property. You get nothing except what you brought into the marriage, which we both know is 0. Daniel stood, chair rolling back hard. "Who is this Sarah Jenkins?" "The woman your wife chose." Robert turned to leave. "Reading of the will is tomorrow, 10 sharp at the notary's office. Attendance required." Emily placed a business card on the desk. "My contact if you need to discuss settlement options, though there won't be any." They walked out. Daniel hurled the glass against the wall, amber liquid streaking down the paint Laura had picked herself. Rebecca called back immediately. "What happened? We've been played." "Find this Sarah Jenkins. Now." He slammed the phone down, chest heaving. The empire he had waited for slipped through his fingers, and for the first time in years, real fear mixed with his rage. The notary's office smelled of old paper and coffee. Daniel arrived with Rebecca on his arm, both dressed in calculated black. Robert and Emily already sat at the long table. A single empty chair waited opposite them. The notary opened the sealed envelope and began reading in a flat, official tone. Laura Mitchell's last will and testament, executed with full capacity, bequeaths the entirety of her estate, restaurant chain, commercial leases, investment portfolios, personal residences, and all associated assets, to Sarah Jenkins. No provisions exist for Daniel Brooks. Daniel's knuckles went white on the table edge. Rebecca's grip tightened on his forearm, nails digging in. The notary continued. A notarized power of attorney grants Robert Hayes full authority to represent the beneficiary. Miss Jenkins has accepted the inheritance and declines personal appearance at this reading for security reasons. Daniel surged to his feet. This is fraud. I demand to speak to her. Robert didn't blink. She has no obligation to meet you. You're looking at $20 million separate property under New York law. Contest it if you like. You'll lose and pay the fees. Rebecca leaned forward, voice smooth but sharp. Everyone has a price. Name one. Robert stood gathering papers. There isn't one. Sarah's already under protection. Try contacting her and you'll speak to federal marshals instead. Daniel's face twisted. I was her husband. You were the reason she changed the will, Robert said quietly, then walked out with Emily. Outside on the sidewalk, Rebecca lit a cigarette with shaking fingers. Find her. Hire whoever you need. We flip this or we're broke. Daniel stared at the building, breath coming fast. He made 2 calls before they reached the car. Across town, Sarah sat in a modest Charlotte apartment arranged by Patricia. A burner phone buzzed. Robert. Stay inside. He started hunting. Michael Donovan is on his way to you now. Michael Donovan arrived within the hour, a solid man in his 40s with gray at the temples, and a calm that came from years chasing financial trails. He set a laptop on the kitchen table and pulled footage from pharmacy security feeds. Daniel purchasing restricted compounds multiple times. Always cash, always alone. Michael spoke low. We have receipts, camera stills, and the lab reports Laura sent herself. Enough for the DA to open a case. James Patel is reviewing everything today. Sarah wrapped her arms around herself. He won't stop. He will when he's locked up, Michael answered. But first we let him get close enough to hang himself. Controlled contact. Recorded. You say yes to a meeting. We're there. Patricia, staying in the spare room, nodded agreement. Laura wanted him exposed, not just broke. We finished this her way. Sarah looked out the window at the quiet street. The weight of the promise settled deeper, but fear began mixing with something harder. Daniel's hired men worked fast, old contacts from shady real estate deals. By evening, they had a lead, a temporary lab job in Charlotte under Sarah's middle name. Daniel smiled for the first time that day. Rebecca booked a private jet. Tomorrow, they would make an offer she couldn't refuse or make sure no offer was ever needed again. In a downtown office, James Patel closed the evidence folder and picked up the phone. Grand jury indictment papers were already being prepared. The black SUV rolled to a silent stop. Sarah stepped out of the lab into the chill evening air, lab coat folded over her arm. Streetlights cast long shadows across the empty lot. She walked toward the bus stop, heels clicking on cracked pavement. A second vehicle cut across the curb and blocked her path. Doors opened fast. 2 men in dark jackets moved in, one clamping a hand over her mouth, the other seizing her waist. She kicked hard, but they dragged her inside and slammed the door. The SUV lurched forward. Daniel sat in the back, face lit by the dashboard glow. Rebecca beside him watched with cool detachment. The driver took back roads, tires humming over gravel until they reached an abandoned warehouse on the edge of town. Inside smelled of rust and old oil. A single hanging bulb threw harsh light across concrete. They shoved Sarah onto a metal chair, zip ties biting her wrists behind her back. Daniel crouched to eye level. You're going to sign the renunciation right now. 300,000 wired tonight, and you walk away breathing. Refuse, and this building becomes your last address. Sarah tasted blood where her lip had split against teeth. She met his stare without blinking. Rebecca pulled papers from a folder and slid them across the floor with a pen. Simple form. 1 signature. Everyone wins. Sarah spat to the side, red staining concrete. Laura trusted me with her legacy. I'm not selling it to the man who ended her. Daniel straightened and nodded. The first man drove a fist into her stomach. Air exploded from her lungs. She doubled forward as far as the ties allowed, gasping. Daniel spoke softly. I made her suffer slowly for months, watching her fade while I smiled at her bedside. You think I'll hesitate with you? Another blow landed across her cheek, snapping her head sideways. Vision blurred, but the promise burned clearer than pain. Daniel drew a small recorder from his pocket, thumb hovering over record. Last chance. Say you'll sign, or the swamp outside finishes this. Sirens cut the night, blue and red lights flooding through broken windows. Doors crashed open. Police weapons drawn. Hands up! Step away from her! Daniel spun, face draining of color. Rebecca dropped the papers. The hired men raised arms slowly. Michael Donovan pushed through the officers, knelt beside Sarah, and sliced the ties. Patricia followed right behind, wrapping a jacket around Sarah's shoulders. Daniel lunged for the side exit, but two officers tackled him hard. Cuffs clicked shut. Michael lifted the recorder Daniel had dropped, pressed play. Daniel's own voice filled the warehouse, clear and damning. I made her suffer slowly for months. James Patel stepped into the light, warrant in hand. Daniel Brooks, you're under arrest for the attempted murder of Sarah Jenkins and the premeditated homicide of Laura Mitchell. Rebecca was cuffed next, eyes wide with the realization the game was over. Sarah leaned on Michael as medics moved in. Bruises bloomed across her face and ribs, but she managed a cracked whisper. She got her justice. Officers hauled Daniel past her. For the first time, he had nothing to say. The courtroom doors closed behind Daniel for the last time. 22 years. No parole for the first 15. The judge's words still rang. Premeditated homicide, attempted murder, kidnapping, conspiracy. Rebecca drew 12 as accomplice. The empire Laura built stayed untouched. Every dollar, every location, every recipe card now legally Sarah's. Sarah stood outside the federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan, wind whipping her coat. Patricia waited beside her, arm linked through hers. No cameras today. The press had moved on months ago. Sarah looked up at the gray November sky. Laura never wanted the money to win, she said quietly. She wanted the truth to win. She wanted the person who smiled while breaking her to end up with nothing but a number on a prison uniform. And that's exactly what happened. Patricia squeezed her arm. She saw something in you that night. Strength you didn't know you had. Sarah nodded. I learned the hardest lesson anyone can learn. Real family isn't always blood, and real betrayal can wear the sweetest face. But I also learned that one honest choice, one promise kept, can turn a stranger into an heir and a victim into a victor. She glanced at the steps where reporters once swarmed. Money comes and goes. Trust, once poisoned, never fully returns. But justice, real justice, leaves a mark no amount of cash can erase. Patricia smiled, eyes shining. Ready to go home? Sarah took a slow breath. Yeah. Laura's house is waiting, and for the first time, it actually feels like home. They walked down the steps together, two women bound not by blood, but by a dying woman's final, perfect revenge. And that's the truth this story carries. Greed can buy almost anything, except the one thing that matters in the end. A clear conscience and a legacy that refuses to die quietly. Thank you for staying until the end. If this story made you think twice about who you really trust, hit like, drop a comment with your city, and subscribe for a new real-life family drama every single day. See you in the next one.